Here we are in section 2-2 exercises numbers 22 through number 20 through number 25. Notice it says to create each fraction with a denominator of 48. That means we have to create the same fraction, but so it equals something with over 48. Now remember our rules here. We can times anything on the top and bottom that we want. So what would we have to times 6 by to get 48? 6 times what equals 48? Well, if you know your multiplication tables, you get 6 times 8 is 48. And so you're like, oh, times by 8 on the top, and that'll keep it balanced. 5 times 8 is 40. 40 over 48, we got it. The next one, we have to make this with equals 48 on the bottom. What do we have to times by? We have to times by, let me see, 8 times, oh, just like we did over here, 8 times 6 is 48, so we got to times by 6 on the top. 3 times 6 is 18. 18 over 48 is the same as 3/8 with a denominator of 48. And this one has to equal, and then you've got to have a 48. Ooh, this takes a little bit of, we don't know our 24 times table, so if you did 24 times 1 is 24. 24 plus 24 would be a 48, so that is 24 times 2. Yeah, you'd have to times by 2 and times by 2. 24, 48. So that's how we know to times by 2, so we get a 2 over 48. Excellent. Okay, next one down. Create each fraction with a denominator of 64. Look how handy it is that we know our multiplication tables. We're going to make this equal to a denominator, 64. So we have to multiply by, let me see, 8 times 8 is 64. So we got to times the top by 8. 5 times 8 is 40. 40 over 64. Good. Now the next one. I have to times that guy, so it's a 64 there. I don't know my 16 times table, so let's write these guys out. 16, 16 plus 16 is 32. Add 16, that's an 8 and a 4. Add 16, that would be a 4, carry the 1, and a 6. Oh, there we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4 times 16 is going to equal 64. So I kind of had to make up my 16 times tables right here by doing 16 plus 16 plus 16 plus 16. So I know now, though, that it's going to be timesing by 4 to get a 64. So that means I have to times by 4 up there. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 64ths is the same as 3/16. And then finally, 1/2. We're going to turn that into a denominator of 64 there. 2 goes into 64 how many times? Ooh, let me see. 2 goes into 6, 3, so 30. 2 goes into 4 twice, so 32 times. We're actually multiplying by 32. So we got times by 32, times by 32. And so we get 1 times 32 is 32 over 64.